In the last month, a Final Fantasy X video was able to explode so strongly in popularity that it significantly boosted Final Fantasy X sales on Steam, and yet Square Enix was still forced to take down the video, despite all this positive publicity. Why is that? And what does that have to do with Tidus's cock? Let's find out. Our story begins with the humble Ryun who created the video Otowakka for Nico Nico, which was uploaded at the very beginning of May, and towards the end of May had already reached an incredible amount of 3 million plays. And to put this into perspective, 3 million doesn't sound that much if you're wondering about YouTube, for example, as a comparison. But the thing is, Nico Nico is a website that is used mainly by Japanese people, so these are 3 million purely Japanese views. And if you put that into perspective versus YouTube, which is people from the entire world watching videos versus just people from Japan watching the video, 3 million views is kind of insane. It's an extremely high amount of views for a video to get in just a handful of days, basically, from when it actually started exploding. So this video, to put it bluntly, was kind of huge, okay? And this only happened a few days ago that this video blew up the way that it did. So why would that end up being a problem? Now, this video was basically a medley of various different remixes from various different popular songs, like from Toho, for example, because everything's better with Toho, and for example, a remix of the opening from Wakka, Connect, which is going to become important later, so I'm mentioning this already right now. And set to that remix, which was various scenes, various voice files from Wakka and other characters from Final Fantasy X, which basically was supposed to just be throwing many memes of Wakka and Final Fantasy X at you to the beat of whatever song was currently in the background. So it was basically just a really nice, fun way of both, in one hand, ridiculing Wakka for just being Wakka, but on the other hand, kind of celebrating Wakka for being Wakka. Instead of this lovable idiot, right? You probably know people like this, kind of people who are like doofuses, but you can't help but loving them because they just have such a big heart, and that played pretty strongly into the amount of memes that were able to make it into this video, because Wakka is also a kind of funny character in a sense, okay? So now you end up with this video that's a lot of memes about Wakka, about Final Fantasy X, a lot of people having a great time. It explodes in views. People go, wait a second, Final Fantasy X was actually a really great game. People are finally interested in Final Fantasy X again. And then this happens. The video just gets removed from Nico Nico, which, it was based on a takedown notice submitted by the rights holder for Final Fantasy X. Okay, why did that happen? Now, there might have been a problem earlier with the Marika opening Connect, where specifically during that part, it wasn't just innocent memes talking about, oh, Wakka is not actually that popular of a character, but then Wakka hacks the competition to put himself onto the #1 spot of most liked Final Fantasy character, you know, just fun little memes. But maybe during that specific part of the Marika opening Connect, there might have been voice files of Wakka that were edited in such a way that made it sound like he was praising the taste of Tidus, which might have not gone over the best with people from Square Enix who had to be briefed on this, that hey, there's this really big video that suddenly is blowing up on Nico Nico, and the part that most people liked the most, because it was also the most popular part of the entire video, the most quoted part of the entire video, was Tidus's and this probably did not go over well with Square Enix, okay? So ultimately Square Enix, I guess, decided that even though this video was becoming so popular, was boosting sales of Final Fantasy X, which I'll show you in a second, that this actually is a thing that happened, they decided that maybe this is not the best kind of marketing for Final Fantasy X, that apparently the taste of Tidus is really good, and they decided that no, we should probably take this down just so that when people play Final Fantasy X, they don't just think about Tidus all the time. Of course, this does not actually stop the Otowakka craze that has started, because I need to keep repeating, this video blew up insanely bigly. And so after it was taken down, of course, there were plenty of people either re-uploading the entire thing, uploading parts of it to Nico Nico, or just making their own version of it. Like, here's a version for Spy X Spy, there's a JoJo version, there's a version just about Madoka, which is weird because they're all girls and the video still talks about, you know, those kinds of parts. And to keep putting this into perspective, just how big even the re-uploads and even the imitations of this are becoming, this kanji right here is man, which means 10,000. So each of these is this much times 10,000. So this is not 12.5 thousand or 12.500 or whatever. This is 12.5 10,000. So basically 125,000 views on just this video up here. Another 16,000 views down here. 226,000 views on this one. And you can see that even though these videos were uploaded days ago, and there's many different kinds of them, and they're only available, basically, not available, but they're only being watched just by Japanese people, they're still exploding in view count so strongly. I've seen a re-upload just of the Madoka Magica part, just of the Connect part, which blew up to 1 million views in like 2 or 3 days. Like, this is the amount of explosion that we're talking about, like how popular this kind of video has actually become overnight almost. So actually taking down the original video didn't really do anything to curb the sort of popularity, which is good because I guess for Square Enix they're getting the popularity plus still being able to cover their asses by taking down the original video. I want to mention at this point that it's totally legal. It's totally within Square Enix's right to take down anything that infringes on their copyright, and since this video was using clips from the game, it was using sound files from the game, they still are copyright of Square Enix. So it was within their right to take it down. You can argue that, oh, but morally they shouldn't take this down because it's actually boosting sales. I'll get to in a second. But still, just legally, it is within the right of Square Enix to take this video down. So don't get mad at this part. Maybe we can change the law at some point. But right now, this is still very much within the law, okay? But now that this Otowakka craze has started, memes are gonna happen. Of course, memes are gonna happen. One of the things that people memed about is that Square Enix apparently filed a trademark for Tidus's, you know, which I actually went and, you know, I censored this because maybe YouTube might not like if I did this. But the point is, this is actually fake. This is not actually a real trademark. This is, at least as far as I know, I can't read Japanese, so I wasn't able to go through Japanese forums that well. But as far as I know, this right here is fake. They didn't actually do this. But people still believed it. People still believed that they really did file a trademark for Tidus because it kind of makes sense that they would do it just to prevent any future video like this, because if they did trademark this, they would be able to immediately shut down every single video that included that sort of phrase. But they didn't. It's just a meme. Now, I said before that this video did indeed increase the sales of Final Fantasy X. Now let me give some perspective for that. So first off, we have the Steam charts, which, as you can see, this video was uploaded early May and gained traction towards like the middle and the end of May. That's when it like really started exploding in views and go up and up and up, and go from like 500,000 to like 3 million, like almost overnight, like really quickly. And you can see that, yeah, the sales kind of increased a lot during those times. And these are just the sales globally though. So you can see there's a lot of fluctuation in sales all the time anyway. Like actually players. This is actually player count, but you can kind of correspond this a little to sales as well. But we have better numbers, okay? We have this right here, which is a news segment from Live Door News, which apparently talked about how on the Japanese Steam pages, Final Fantasy X has received this new boost. This JRPG boost. And why did it receive that boost? Well, because of Wakka and some video that suddenly became a net meme. And suddenly on the Japanese Steam, Final Fantasy X became a top seller. Which is weird, like if you're in Japan and you open up Steam, suddenly Final Fantasy X is looking at the top seller list and you don't know why it's suddenly a top seller until you find out, oh, there's this meme video that talks about Tidus. And that's why it's suddenly super popular. And it's not just on Steam, just generally all people are suddenly a lot more interested in Final Fantasy X, which shows Google Trends. This is Google Trends specifically for Japan. And you can kind of see, first off, the blue is Wakka. It's kind of hard to, I'm going to talk about this in a second. But Wakka, this is when the Wakka video was uploaded, right around here. And suddenly, a lot more people started talking about Wakka. And I said that towards the end of May, this is when the video exploded. You can kind of see that suddenly the video exploded so hard that more people were talking about just Wakka than all of Final Fantasy X. He literally became bigger than Final Fantasy X for a while, okay? Now, Google Trends is a bit weird because it actually tries to find what each search term means. So if you were in Japan and you type this in katakana, like the Japanese language, then it would still show up in here because it recognized that it's a video game. But with Wakka, it doesn't recognize that Wakka is a fictional character, but it recognized that Tidus is a fictional character right here as fictional character. So it's a bit awkward. The point is, however, that you can see where also Tidus absolutely exploded in popularity, way more popular than Final Fantasy X because of the video. So it's we can kind of tell that this video had a pretty big impact on Japan. And we can go down here and maybe we can find it as well. There it is. That's the search term. That's Otowakka. We can see that Otowakka is basically. It exploded pretty darn hard, okay? So, at the end of the day, what can we say? Well, Otowakka became big, but it included Tidus' and that's why they had to shut it down. But is that really the end of the story? Well, it's not. We know that there's so many people trying to now either put re-uploads on there. There's some re-uploads on YouTube. I'm not going to link any of the re-uploads, because if I link them, they're gonna get just shut down immediately anyway, so better not to link them. But the point is, if you know they exist, you can go out there, you know what they're called, you can probably find them, and people are going to continue this. The Otowakka boom is probably going to continue for probably days, I don't know how long, but this is not where the story ends, because I've looked at all of this information and I decided to look at Japanese Steam reviews just to show that this is something that is also really impacting Steam sales. And I found multiple reviews that were just straight up quoting the video on Steam. And one of them was this review right here, which quoted the following parts. And I've also gone and edited the following parts for YouTube, but they just straight up copied, the important part of the video. This meme is not going to die, okay? This meme is going to die. Even though this meme is confined almost exclusively to Japan, when you look at Google and you try and find other people talking about this, it's extremely hard to actually find other people about this. I might be the only person to actually talk about this in the entire Western sphere because it's just so unknown. It's really just Japan having its own little laugh. But I think this is something that deserves to be out there. Let the people know that Square Enix had the sales blurted out, had sales shooting out from Tidus', and they did not want it. They did not want sales that sprung forth from Tidus', so instead they decided to take it down, but the meme is here to stay. Tidus' cannot be deleted. It will be here every day, all day from now on. And we will never forget the brave sacrifice of Ryun, who had that video deleted. We will never forget that there was probably a legal department out there for Square Enix that had to look at this video, that had to look at the video of Wakka sing about how much he likes Tidus', and they had to decide, should we delete this video or not? And I think that is where the true beauty of Tidus' really lies. So thank you all for watching. Hit the subscribe button. I might not ever do a video like this ever again, but hit it anyway. And I'll see you guys next time.